comes to damage and optimizing every single part of that damage.
I think, honestly, pointing out the anti-airs is a good call, and I would say it extends even further that Mirko is one of the most reaction-heavy players that we have in the business, and that's something that Scorpion can... Need I say more? Ask and you shall receive. That's always been a scary thing about Mirko, is that he provides a different kind of challenge for an opponent. You'll notice that things that you're normally used to getting away with, Mirko will react to, and that will change the entire dynamic of a match, while at the same time not being afraid to just enforce a brutal use of that back 3 overhead. The moment you block low one time is when that forward 4 hits you, and that's kind of what Mirko does. He'll react, he'll chip away, he'll punish when necessary, but he'll condition you the entire time to not watch the feed.
Absolutely. And also, Mirko has this pace in the match that really can get you very uncomfortable, and that's like the type of level that Scorpion really thrives here. And we do have both players in Fatal Blow territory, but realistically MB on that lower health of the side, and there goes the wake up 3, but the down 1 check from Mirko, able to clutch this first round out. Very nicely done. And again, this is just one of those things where like you start seeing MB adapt a little bit more towards the playstyle of Mirko's Scorpion, which is that fast-paced, very high reaction. Like, look at that, just already getting the stand 1 as soon as MB was about to start up the combo.
Even ending that round in up 3 on block. Lovely little turn stealing flawless block. But doing up 3 into a down 1 is a very, very unsafe thing to do, but Mirko just so convinced. Oh yeah, by the way, you're dead. Absolutely. The damage is going to be 100% guaranteed on that one, and no breaker, sadly for MB there. And I think Mirko's the kind of player that... Going in for the amplify as you try and jump over it. That's a nice little first hit. Not the first hit. I got so used to the first hit bonus coming back in MK1 that you forget it does nothing in MK1 besides give you props. However, full combo. And actually, interesting. Keeping things pretty simple there, but still getting a respectable amount of damage on it, and currently has the luxury. How long that lasts, I guess, remains to be seen. As now Mirko, opponent's been put into the corner. Able to escape though, so we're not in a terrible situation just yet. Now we'll see, can MB keep him in there? I'm going to stop talking about the corner because every time I say it, they reverse. And they've just done it again! They've just done it again!
You're cursing the corner. You're basically bad luck in the corner, essentially. Let's see if MB can try to take out Mirko here. That was a great throw tech, but still, Mirko goes for another grab in a very risky situation, but the rollout pause still in recovery as MB solidifies around, and we're back to neutral a little bit.
That was a risky play from Mirko, just dedicated to that forward 3-4. I mean, maybe thinking it could perhaps crushing blow, maybe get a counter hit, might catch a jump in. Either way, the risk attached to that from a roll is pretty severe. So first round now, there's the counter hit, which is of course going to be the crushing blow attached. Forces the breaker, and it sets up for the burning spear. So we're going to get some extra damage here. Oh, especially now. And the side switch looks for a bit of extra damage. That spear would have led us into easily over 40% damage. And that's one thing about Mirko. The jump option select into spear is almost completely guaranteed. And there's not a lot of Scorpion players that do that. If you hit that jump kick, if you input spear, on block nothing happens. And if it connects from most heights, that spear is going to give you a full.
And that is going to tie up the round here, as we are on potential set point for Mirko. MD or Fancy Kicks also on this chance to make the comeback. Still keeps getting hit by that overhead. It is very hard to overreact, especially when you're in the game and you're just seeing so much and taking into account everything that Mirko is just doing. But there goes the throw from Fancy Kicks. Goes for the full screen and tries to get the slide out. Once again, you have to watch your toes when it comes to noob sidebox slide, especially as he builds up the crushing blow.
Now that's a punish. The counter hit was already used though, so no crushing blow this time. I've got to point out, the escape failed, and actually now escape failed on both sides, so if either player gets a successful throw here, it's going to be a lot of damage. Now, restand, goes in for a delayed overhead, gets the punish on that, even from that range. That's what I mean, Mirko with the knowledge, and from this point now, the crushing blow on the throw does not matter. Anything will do it, but now watch out for fatal blow. MB goes for the why not kind of fatal blow, and that's going to set up for a teleport. Mirko takes the series, but a much closer second game there. I was kind of worried that they both had one round left here. You know, the classic the two poster boys from back in the day, Scorpion and Sub-Zero once more. You know, I'm actually kind of curious to see what costumes these characters have in Mortal Kombat 1, because, you know, I see that Sub-Zero skin now and I'm like, oh yeah, cameo Sub-Zero, great. At least I'm sure I saw it in one trailer.
I think I saw it as well. I saw it too.
We saw Scorpion in the Link Way trailer. I know we saw that.
And here we have it with the movement from Mirko. There goes the block. What a great stand forward to cause the breakaway. But Omie's going to block that overhead and get the throw. And the empty jumped into another throw to really bait out what Mirko's trying to do. Because we mentioned it before. Mirko can be an anti-air god with his reactions.
Yeah, and if Mirko gets a good call out on the empty jump, however, that's one of the highest damage anti-airs the character can have. And even there, just the confidence and knowing that Omie's not going to let that one rip, the restand. And that low was absolutely efficient for a Fatal Blow. When Mirko sticks that low out with Fatal Blow ready, he is absolutely just looking for it to connect and then boom, you know, let it go. However, potentially one hit. Omie, a little bit too eager to seal the deal, but Mirko, do not confuse speed with impatience. That's one of the big takeaways when you find Mirko, that he can look really impatient and just get hit by random stuff. But at the end of the day, he's always looking for reactions. He will punish those and he will wait for them in clutch opportunities. Kind of like that. Nice.
Flawless box, though, on Omie has been coming in very nicely. Almost rivaling against what Mirko's been trying to do. The whiff grab from the jump kick, and Omie once again going for that over-eager slide, and Mirko is just strictly waiting for it. Most of this match has been the punish off of that slide into the big damage that we see from Scorpion.
Nope. Right, didn't have the meter. No, you're completely correct. The reckless slides have been kind of the #1 reason Omie is likely going to lose this game, and I guess we will be correct on that one. That is a risky play. You know, going up against someone like Mirko.
Nature and almost freezing time a little bit. Tried to put in like a dad pun there and actually get through. But we do have this slide that's going to be the first loading of the crushing blow. Omie will need 2 more in order to gain access to it.
Lovely reaction on the teleport as well. Knowing that from the base hit of the teleport, you don't really have much to fear. So even if Scorpion cancels it, if he tries to cancel into a button, down one can grant you a turn and say, not quite, you've got to be a bit more patient than that. Tease it, looks in for some kind of anti-air, but almost hesitates last minute, which allows it to jump in, slide up and select to hit its mark in the corner positioning. There's the immediate throw escape. Wow, just lets that 1-1-2 rock by itself. And this time, we're still doing pokes into slide. It's just thankfully, in this instance, it worked out. But we're still doing it, and that makes me a little bit nervous. We'll see if it works. We'll see if it works.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've been a little bit nervous off of some of those pokes, but at least we're also seeing some of the jump kicks actually being hit confirmed into slide. So there's actually more damage, and where we're actually seeing coming from Omie's end. Even like a 1 or 2 overheads, but there goes this crushing blow from Mirko. We're going to get the restand, going to walk up a little bit, but only reacting with the throw escape. And there's that crushing blow being used up. Actually was able to get the 3 loaded slides. And now this is a good chance for Omie to start implementing, but no, Mirko is actually going to go again for these restands. Hasn't been too successful on hits, as Omie's been ready for them.
Feels like Mirko's been leaving quite a lot of damage on the table, and I have to say, Omie has been proving me wrong so far that, you know, in the last game, poke into slide wasn't working. The 2 we've seen now have worked a charm, especially with the second one giving the crushing blow. Goes in for the throw. The escape was just the wrong direction, expected something else. And, oh, I think that was a slide punish attempt. That would have been the end of the game. Wow. Okay. Interesting game, that. I think Omie was continuing the extremely unsafe style, but I almost got the impression that Mirko, especially after game 1, might have expected a more reserved Omie in that match, and that's just not what we got, and dare I say, might have actually caught Mirko off guard, along with us as well, I suppose.
One of those moments where you're like, okay, I've already conditioned the opponent. Nope, did not condition them. Not 1 minute, actually. Not one
That's
moment
what I want
where
you
they
to
actually
think.
condition. And I think that's that classic case right here, is Omie just said, you know what, I'm just going to keep with the game plan. What's the worst that's going to happen? I'm just going to keep getting hit. And instead, I also think, too, that Mirko may have to be implementing a little bit more damage, even if it's at the risk of you know, not getting those restands and creating those situations, you're already on game 3, right? You definitely don't want to be left without damage against now this wild playstyle, if we call it wild, from Omie, or unsafe rather, better said. So it might be that we just need to see Mirko implement a little bit more damage here instead of going for the reset situations.
That's definitely a big takeaway from what Mirko did in that final game, or last game, sorry, this is the final game. It's just going for a lot of those restands into grab or something else, or delayed back 3. It just didn't work, right? And if it doesn't work, well, we're going to try something that does. In this case, we'll try and get a bit more damage, perhaps. The instant jump out, Omie almost instantly puts Mirko in the corner and actually baits out some kind of button or a jump or something. And that's going to be a full combo into a forced breakaway. No breakaway versus sub in the corner is miserable. Thankfully, though, for Mirko, the combo was dropped and actually punished it in return. Surely we have to spend a bar of meter. Yeah, keep them in the corner. Let's the teleport rip! What is going on?
This is a bit of a scramble as these two are trying to trade blows and get out of this corner, but Mirko keeps backing a little bit, again trying to create the spacing that we know from Scorpion. But Omie, not in Fatal Blow territory just yet. It's really more Mirko that needs that one hit to hit confirm. No jump kick to hit off of there, but now that down 2 coming through. And this is pretty scary here from both of these players. Mirko just getting the first defensive bar, so can probably take a hit, but there goes the slide from blocking the Scorpion Spear. And right now we could be on potential point for Omie.
And there's the punish on the landing. Omie doing a fantastic job so far. And Mirko looking a little bit flustered, dare I say overwhelmed, and that's rare. You know, we don't see Mirko have to deal with that all so often, but Omie has just had the #1 read every single time. Hasn't really been caught out by anything, hasn't been caught by any teleports, hasn't really been whiff punished, doesn't challenge the anti-air, right? Keeps himself nice and grounded, goes in for a mix-up, and now we do see some kind of damage on the board. And 2 bars spent, Mirko, we're going to squeeze out as much as possible. The match is at stake at this point. Omie's the one on match point with punish, but no meter to really capitalize. Looks in for 2-1. Another jump. This time didn't do the spear option select. That could have actually been the game or the round. Empty jump low. All right, match point both players. Here we go. It's getting real now.
Another intense and stressful match between these two legendary characters and also players as well. It seems also now Mirko's starting to kind of pull together and actually wake up with a little bit more of like, okay, I need to get this damage out now, and I need to play a little more solid here, start implementing some of my own pressure. But Omie winning the air-to-air and forcing Mirko with the breakaway. Great throw tech, and this is just going to be Omie able to get the overhead on that punish as well. And this is going to be big damage because, again, Mirko doesn't have that breakaway, so that is a free crushing blow for Omie.
Omie has just had the read on when Mirko's going to press these buttons, like the wake-up jumps, the too much use of down 4, and that's why the forward 2 completely blew it up just then. However now, wait a minute, change of momentum, a full combo, empty jumps, maybe that big neutral jump perhaps too obvious and might have been a flawless block, anti-air. Either way though, Omie's been able to fight his way out of the corner and Mirko down to a last chance. A punish, all of this unbreakable. It's going to do a ton of damage, but I'm not convinced it's going to do enough to kill. This is going to set up for one touch on basically both sides.
Here it goes. This is now the full screen range. There goes the block. But the air-to-air is on Mirko's side. Actually has not been the winner of most of them, but wins this last air-to-air interaction to clutch out this game and head to winners final. Mirko does an amazing job with the Death Spear to just be able to close out games in checkmate situations. And almost, again, the way you kind of see both of these players play and the reactions on Mirko, you're either hit confirming with teleport or you're using the teleport as the whiff punisher tool. So not surprising. This is going to be a little bit tough for MakoraN, but like you mentioned, this is a match that we see time and time again. And it really comes down to who's playing against each other better. And there's that Death Spear with the buff as well, 36%, and already putting MakoraN in like 20% HP.
One thing we haven't seen yet, but rest assured you will do, and something that I've only... Micro duck was disgusting. something that only Mirko does with this variation is the 2-1, 2+4, the extra string that has the extra ender. It changes the up-close game quite a lot, actually, because 2-1 is already plus with Scorpion, and then you have the extra hit, which is given to you by this variation. On hit, knocks down, does really good damage, and on block is kind of an extra added attack on block that you're not used to. It's really hard to explain, but sure, no doubt Mirko will show it in action at some point. Like, there it is right there. It gives you something on block to worry about that you're not used to defending against. So Mirko's rushdown game becomes insane, really, because there you go, 2-1 into overhead. MakoraN's expecting the final string, which allows the overhead to come out. There's the boiling point, though, and we're going to put him in the corner, try and win the round from that.
At least with Mirko, there is still a potential. I do see some of these flawless blocks happening, but like we saw before, MakoraN's definitely trying to prepare for those flawless block attempts with the parry. And it's more of Mirko identifying, okay, when does the parry come out and when can I actually try to take my turn back? But this is going to be MakoraN's round pretty much. Going to get the boiling point, use the meter to close out the game. And 38% from Scarlet. I want to talk to the person who says that she doesn't have damage. That was a lot of damage.
You've got to be good enough to do it consistently, didn't you? That's the difference. And in this case, tries to go for the combo ender there. A little bit too far away, however. The short hop into overhead now. Blocking the wake up. Mirko back against the corner. And looks like we're going to have a change of fate. The side switching teleport's going to do it. We end the combo with the 2+4. Get that knockdown. Allows Scorpion to push forward once again. 2-1. 2-1 into the ender. Just like that, 20%. And we can start to pressure the opponent for another time. Unfortunately, though, MakoraN... Oh, 2 projectiles back to back, and both of which are going to heal him. MakoraN has stolen the lead away.
Mirko not too... Well, actually very close to Fatal Blow. It's one chip situation, and now I'll lead to Mirko being able to get the hit confirmed. There goes the counter, but not going to be able to continue damage. There goes Fatal Blow going off and ready to be used at Mirko's mercy, essentially. And it's MakoraN that's going to have to play. Gets hit by the interactable, and now it's one hit confirmed from either players that can seal this deal. Goes to down 1. Great throw tech from MakoraN, guessing correctly and not letting Mirko load up on that crushing blow from the throw. Mirko's getting hit by these down 1 checks quite a bit from MakoraN, and it's good as well. There goes the plus, but on the flawless block, 8 seconds on the clock, and it is literally anyone's game.
Get back in!
Overhead.
No! No!
Oh my god!
Oh my good lord! Up 3 or a button on wake up was so likely. I was half expecting Mirko to do wake up throw because he was expecting MakoraN to wait for the inevitable wake up attack. Like, that's how far in these two players are with their experience of each other in a competitive setting. However, obviously didn't quite go that far. There's the punish and a boiling point just to get extra damage before you touch the floor. It's always more damage than you're expecting to receive, just shy of 30% for that alone. And now MakoraN establishing good control in the mid-screen. Lets the low rip a little bit too late, right as a jump comes out there from Mirko. However, looks like we're back to a pretty even situation. And actually, the interruption on the 2-1-2. I'm surprised, actually, because 2-1-2+4 would have beat that. So that's a hard read.
Yeah, that's one of those situations you were mentioning earlier about the usage of that extended string. It creates the mind game where, you know, even if the Scorpion tries to stagger the 2-1-2, there's still that, like, scariness from it. We do have MakoraN, though, loading up. I think that was an escape failed, so has the crushing blow loaded up in case they need it, and goes up the round as well.
Both players pretty decent on the meter department, too offensive. That down 4 has been a bit of a miracle button for Mirko in this round so far, just trying to create some plus frames, a little bit of pushback towards the corner perhaps. However, watch your toes, because there's MakoraN. You get hit by a single button, that's an unbreakable 28% with your name on it. Another neutral jump. Oh, anti-air though!
So good right there from Mirko, waiting for the jump kick. And like you mentioned before, that low kick has been a great button for Mirko to just really stop the progression from MakoraN and even interrupt on some cases. A nice anti-air, but the flawless block up 3 rather is gonna catch MakoraN off guard. And now Mirko, waiting patiently, tries to whip punish, successful on that whip punish and then goes for the restand for the down 1 checks. And this is the stagger, and like you mentioned, the extended string coming out at the end as well.
It totally changes the matchup up close. Or not necessarily the matchup, but it just changes how you have to defend against this character. And that's now Mirko understanding that there's no way you can escape the death spin amplify, so we'll take that into a free round and now bring us into an opportunity for Mirko to create that gap and make it even bigger than it was before.
Ooh, catching it, Mirko off guard. And that was actually a great usage of canceling into that special. And that's where you start seeing MakoraN change a little bit of the style just a bit. You already understand that Mirko's trying to get their turn back in those situations. And MakoraN's just trying to adapt to Mirko's attempts. And these staggers, though, really making MakoraN guess a little bit on when to take the turn.
With every single hit that's landing, though, it's getting more and more dangerous because MakoraN is getting closer and closer to the corner. We're going to have that room to back away. Speaking of which, trying to fight back with the range buttons, but it's not going to work out yet, and the escape failed was set up, which means damage over time. And actually, this is a variation where damage over time is not your best friend, because now we are entering death spin territory.
Some of these lows have to come into play. There goes the wake up, the fall spot off 3 rather, and now it's gonna throw Mirko into the corner. Now Mirko has the buff, so that's not a good time.
You're dead.
Yep.
The moment that got blocked, the game was over, and MakoraN knew it. In fact, I actually think that's why
you're still getting a good amount of damage with those extended streaks.
Even without teleport cancel, though, Mirko got those reactions, and that's the confidence in him. Tries going for a grab, but I think MakoraN was fully prepared for that to whiff the way it did. But Mirko, momentum is on his side. Oh, that whiff! Doesn't commit, though. Doesn't commit. That would have been half damage. Actually, I think there's still a chance for half damage. Oh, no, it's only 44%. Only 44%. Terrible damage. Oh, overhead!
Oh
Mirko baits the roll. Oh! Partying a bit too hard, maybe?
MakoraN trying to dominate the corner here. Not going to be able to get the 2. There goes the plus frames. The kick on the low from Mirko. Again, that miracle button just stopping MakoraN from advancing, but has to get out of this corner, or this could be MakoraN's round very quickly, especially with 1 hit confirmed. You have to be careful from the way it's...
Did you see? Did you see the vacuum effect? She pulled him in after that connected. And I gotta say, MakoraN with the nerves of steel right there, because the distance he was standing was just outside of down 4 and forward 3 range, because there was a death spin buffered on top of every single one of those buttons. 100%. And MakoraN still made it work.
That has to be my favorite just interaction out of tonight's broadcast.
I mean, we've had a fair share, so that one has to work hard to take that title.
And we see Mirko getting these overheads. There goes the spin now. Because it's full screen, there's not really much that MakoraN can do to punish it. That gets the short hop to avoid the parry. A great throw tech. The stub on the down 3, but Mirko's going to be able to close in and clean up this round. And we might be seeing potentials at point here from Mirko, who actually didn't lose a lot of health there. Has been mostly from the small trades and pokes that MakoraN's been able to get.
The fear of that death spin has been severe when things get really, really close. Yeah, that's why MakoraN was caught trying to jump out of that corner in that situation. Goes in for the forward throw, the less likely throw option to defeat. So that was a really good decision there from Mirko. Shoutouts to Mortal Kombat Deception in the background. I was always more of an Armageddon fan myself. Shoutouts to Air Combat and Mortal Kombat 1. But the teleport as well. Doesn't have the meter though. No, he did. He just didn't spend it. What the heck?
Boiling point, really putting out 24%. And then trying to get the forward 2 to hit confirm into the blood ball, but it's just a little too slow. So now there goes that forward.
Oh! That could have been so much more. MakoraN, a rare drop. Uh-oh. Fatal blow. I'm looking at that fatal blow. I'm eyeing it up. Oh, challenging you to press. MakoraN with the defense. Excuse me.
Oh, there goes the flawless block from Mirko. It's gonna create a little bit of spacing. It's getting closer and closer to the corner. Has to be a bit careful.
That's it. No!
Oh,
Didn't
no!
dedicate! Mirko did not dedicate.
The short hop again to avoid the parry. And there
You're
goes
dead.
the death spin into...
No! No!
Oh,
One hit short! One hit short! Mirko misjudged the chip by one single hit and lost.
That low, and it could have been a fatal blow. And
Yep.
then, of course, the death spin just not reaching because there was just not enough hits to it. But once again, we'll see how this works out for Mirko. And using again the death spin, this is on full range, so MakoraN is going to have a tough time to even try to attempt to punishing it. Has to be closer, like we saw in that last interaction from the last round.
Yeah, we saw MakoraN kind of try out the boiling point just in case, but that obviously wasn't fast enough. However, none of that matters at the moment as a full punish and a full combo here from MakoraN and loads of damage into corner positioning. Looks like now the block on the overhead, being able to take a turn. Delicious flawless block on that forward 3-4, not letting you get away with anything. And MakoraN, the meaty down one. That's one thing that can actually be a detriment to Mirko. Can sometimes be a little bit too low poke happy on that old down one. And MakoraN doing it 3 times, almost a bit of a challenge to say, no, I know what you're doing. I'm showing you a little bit of your own medicine here.
It's always great to have Scorpions taste a taste of their own medicine when it comes to their down ones and repetition of it. Mirko, though, slowly getting out of this corner. Now, one thing I've been seeing here from MakoraN is, one, blocking those overheads and even interrupting them as well, which really actually affects the game plan that Mirko has been trying to do with those overheads. MakoraN being really the only player in this bracket to really pay attention to it and actually understand what Mirko's trying to do. Was that an instant teleport off of the whiff grab?
It was, because I guess Mirko must have been confident in the range that I'm able to disappear before your button comes out. And that can be an interesting challenge with Scorpion players. Looks like absolute suicide sometimes, and in some cases it is. But here, it didn't matter in the end anyway, because look at that. In what feels like half, basically, you name it. And they've played countless times in it. So it does create this game-by-game idea where it is all about the next adaptation, the next surprise you might have for someone. One of the big changes here is that MakoraN has put less focus in that mid-screen. Somehow still had time for that down two. That was one of the latest uppercuts I've ever seen. But is actually being more proactive on the offense. Is giving it to Mirko. Is being the one actually making Mirko have to be defensive. And we didn't see that in the first 2 matches.
Well, we were seeing more of Mirko playing his game, and so far it's been a lot of MakoraN playing their game first before Mirko gets a chance. But we do see the interactable going to be used here. This is probably one of the best interactables on this stage, especially with the amount of damage it can just push out. Once again, the down one check to stop MakoraN from backdashing, and ready for the stand one to flawless block and get the up 3 as well.
In these situations, in a game as tense as this, they are both wanting to steal back that next turn. They want to be the one to get that button out there, which is why these defensive flawless blocks into up 3, especially from Mirko, are so common. Because look, your opponent's on the verge of making this reverse sweep comeback against you. You have to be able to match that pace. It's like I said at the start of the day. If you're playing at a million miles an hour, the opponent has to adapt. But the moment they do, you have to shift gear again. And some players can't do that. Mirko very much showing that he can in this instance, but no flawless block on the forward 3-4. I imagine MakoraN may have expected just the forward 3 by itself. Get off me, stop these throw attempts. Too far away! No second hit.
So
Anti-air!
And we are going to get the crushing blow. This is going to do some burn damage as well. And Mirko pushing MakoraN into the fatal blow, winning the air-to-air, forcing the breakaway. This could be it if Mirko is able to get that one hit in. Has the meter to do it.
Wow!
MakoraN getting hit by the wake up 3.
Punish!
Punish! No! And MakoraN staying alive. Now, this won't kill, I believe. It does a lot of damage.
It's hard to say. It's Scarlet Fatal Blow.
I know. It's like, yeah, okay.
Ooh, not enough,
I figured.
not enough.
Just a bit. But there goes the death spin. And the teleport with Mirko to staying alive.
Death spin at range into teleport. You would have had to have been a complete mind reader in getting any games. They haven't got a chance to get started.
Yeah, usually some of the more stronger moments tend to be when you definitely get hit the first 2 games won. You can definitely see a lot of strength there, but this is where MakoraN's going to really have to essentially outplay from the very beginning, right? And we're already seeing such a good start with this round, where now it's really MakoraN that's starting to lose the health, and Mirko's going to have to play the catch-up game.
Nice little reactionary stand block on that overhead. And it is in MakoraN's best interests to take these first few games, because if Mirko goes 2 up here, you go in character select and you think, man, I've not won a match yet, my opponent only needs 1 more, I've got to win 3 just to get the reset, and then we have to do a whole 3 out of 5 again. It can be a lot.
Yeah, especially with the pace of Mortal Kombat 11, where it's a lot of poke heavy,
nice.
And a lot of back and forth, but this was a great start. That actually killed thanks to the meter burn as well, so this is a great start. Again, this is the first round that goes to MakoraN, and really what we've kind of been saying is how MakoraN's just been playing like $1,000,000 with many of the other players. Was even doing extremely well in the last rematch between Mirko and themselves. So
the biggest thing that allowed MakoraN to start taking it to Mirko in that winners finals was the aggression started to shift the other way. MakoraN was being a lot more reserved. Mirko was overwhelming. Mirko was running away with it. MakoraN went, okay, I'm going to swap this up, and I'm now going to start bringing it to you. The confidence in that rush down and the pressure up close to match your opponent worked wonders. It's just that Mirko in that final match was able to match that pace again. It's just the nature of the back and forth of these two. And it kind of looks like MakoraN has started a lot more high octane than when we saw in the winners finals. So that's exactly what we want to see. Yo, that was the slowest, most efficient anti-air I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
That's it. Game 1.
This is a great game.
Use that, and something about it, they rise to the occasion, and it makes them play better than ever. Sometimes it's the pressure of being in the lower bracket that it makes people play just much better because there's more on the line. And sometimes you just get more matches, and it can be as simple as that. However, we're starting off strong, big damage, and we're going to go 40%. Owie. Thank you very much for that, Scorpion.
Actually, a really great way too, because that leaves MakoraN in just like fatal blow territory, with Mirko practically still at full health, only losing what, like 20% essentially, and is just sitting comfortably, where there's a little bit more of risk that can be taken, and whereas MakoraN has to kind of play a lot of catch up essentially, having to use a lot of resources too if that was capable. But that jump kick is going to seal the deal, and it's going to go first round to Mirko.
Wake up 3. Almost element of what do I have to lose kind of situation there for MakoraN. Now Mirko, at that first round on the board, we start to pressure, and we're going to start to see more of that searing rage again. This time MakoraN ready for the down 1. Often after that third hit, some players get caught off guard and their down 1 doesn't come out because they're just not used to that button. There's been plenty of games with MakoraN and Mirko for him to be ready for it now. Wow, back-to-back down 1. Okay, they're really challenging here. We'll pick up the boiling point. That's going to be huge damage. We spend even more meter on it. Challenging it on wake up, and even that choice. Mirko tries to go for a micro dunk. What's going on? Mate, is your block button broken?
Mirko was definitely lost in the sauce there from MakoraN, and also just didn't really have enough defensive resources to really get out of there from that corner, and now it's tied up in this game.
MakoraN.
You ever get lost in the sauce like that against Scarlet Ketchup? I sometimes do. Mate,
I get lost in the sauce in every match ever. I'll do one really good combo and then I'll just start doing really stupid stuff like that. I mean, I've already won the game now. Oh, hang on a minute. Escape failed. Actually, wow, I totally missed that before. The crushing blow throw was already locked and loaded. And I have to set up some expectations here, and if I'm lying, just call me out later. This could be a really long grand finals, because with how back and forth these two are, we could go into a close final game in game 5 before the reset has even taken place. And if it's anything like the fact that this is just game 2, strap yourselves in, because we could be here for a while. Punish? No!
Woke up a little too late on that, but there is the potential for both to either get a single hit confirmed.
What? The call out! The call out! That was 100%. You're going to release block, the flawless block this, and I'm going to fatal blow to catch you doing it. And that's exactly what happened. That was such a bold decision, and it worked.
League, and definitely had to be on the edge of your seat for sure, but this is a good round start. Unfortunately, that second meter teleport is not going to work out to it because of MakoraN using breakaway. What an anti-air though. Gonna have to use breakaway as well on Mirko's end. Now both players without much of a defensive resource. MakoraN just getting it back, and there goes this punish. He's gonna be able to do quite a bit of damage. Yep, there goes the boiling point for the meter burn as well.
Some of you viewers at home may have noticed a new Scorpion costume, and with Mirko that means a new variation. This means we've gone back to the teleport cancel. If this is potentially the last game before a reset, Mirko clearly trying to mix things up and allow for a playstyle change that this cancelled teleport will provide for it. I guess we'll see how much, because truthfully, when I see these two play in the past, it is Searing Rage that gives Mirko the highest success. So this might be a, look, if the reset might happen, I'm just going to try something different. MakoraN prepared for the teleport and strapped in for what could be a reset point.
I don't think I've really seen a player in this bracket challenge Mirko's teleport cancels the way I've seen MakoraN just be fully prepared for it. And again, this is literally MakoraN playing like $1,000,000, ready for anything that Mirko is trying to throw out. And honestly, really understanding the character matchup. And this is the bleed damage that's just going to do quite a bit of damage. And again,
oh my lord!
The challenge, it's just working out so well for MakoraN.
The throw tech. At least Mirko was able to escape something there, and there's the up 3. And actually, the last effort in this round to turn around and get some kind of momentum yourself. Here's the spear. Of course we amplify. We want to keep MakoraN in the corner, but MakoraN, full bars of meter. Is a wake-up ever going to happen? It could be a roll, the interactable. This time it's overhead. Oh, wait, a 2-1-2. That's not going to be enough to take the kill. Plus, expects the button. Oh my god!
This
that
was
everything.
It was everything, yeah. Like, I don't think I felt like MakoraN was really trying to get out of the corner, was trying to react probably to that overhead, but just was not able to really get going in those instances. And this is Mirko going to probably be able to capitalize off of some of this momentum, finally able to get it. Great throw tech, the actual counter and interrupt of the string. I'm going to be fully able to hit confirm and has to use the throw to throw Mirko back towards the corner.
Mirko is whiffing. My boy is pressing buttons. All kinds of buttons, not all of them being the right one. Oh, there's the break! And that's a punish. Still picks up boiling point. And there's still much more damage on deck. No meter to turn that into anything more. Mirko, this is your last chance. Releases block, and that wasn't the decision to make as MakoraN. Okay, 3-0. We've had a reset.
Don't get to do it. Also, just amount of damage, right? Here we're going to see a lot of damage dished out, and also see checkmate situations that we usually see with that death spin.
Although Mirko, I feel like there's a little bit of Mirko that might be a bit reserved on those death spins. Lovely reactions, by the way. This is what I mean. We're still warmed up and we're still ready for... Oh, God! 40% damage. Are you kidding? I was going to say something about the death spin and the fact that there was a game previously where he survived one hit, but no time for that. So much has happened already. We're moving straight into the next play. In this case, the Burning Spear buff is activated. Good block on the overhead. That's been something Mirko has been trying to check MakoraN with the entire series. And every time this throw comes out and it puts back to full screen, and you would consider that a benefit for MakoraN, but any projectile could be an instant teleport reaction, so it's a scary mind game.
Very, very scary indeed. What an anti-air, not going to be able to fully hit confirm, but the movement, the back and forth between, actually going to be using the explosion of the blood and MakoraN's going to catch Mirko very much off guard. Now this is essentially Chip going to be able to, though, punish off of the Fatal Blow attempt. You know, if MakoraN was able to do the Fatal Blow, so can Mirko, right? It's worth the attempt. It's the last-ditch effort. You don't have a lot of health to even begin with. If anything, you're going to get pushed back, and that's going to start off some spacing for you.
It was trying to go for a similar situation to how MakoraN did the 1-2 Fatal Blow before, because it was a forward 3, right? You're going to release block and try and flawless block the forward 3-4. Well, this variation gives you the extra hit to Fatal Blow, so the attempt was almost completely identical. It just, this time around, it didn't work, I suppose. But if it did, oh, it would have been enough to win the round, and it would have been glorious. Now, trying to push back. The jump in, the spear option select, and actually, we're going to turn a jump kick into 30% damage into a side switch. And that's one of the things I love about this variation, is that the combo enders, you can now really choose whether you stay in front or behind anytime you want. If you want to stay in front, end it in 2-1-2+4. That's a lovely KB. And now, actually, the pressure's on Mirko. Once again, the fake button! The fake button! Oh. Faked out the projectile with a standing 1. Blocked the teleport and then did an
This is something that, like, I was noticing from the very beginning, especially from the first game before the bracket reset, is calling out Mirko's habits extremely well, even to the point of the flawless block, right? Like, we're really seeing MakoraN tease out those flawless block attempts and then capitalize on them.
It is a really good thing to point out because, again, I'm going back to... it's a lovely, lovely combo there. It's the understanding and mastery of your character. The biggest weakness... By the way, that's escape failed, so watch out for the next Scorpion throw. The biggest weakness that Scarlet players have always said about this character, and they are correct, it's not even like they're wrong, is that she is very prone to being flawless blocked. The second someone flawless blocks her stuff, she struggles in a lot of ways. However, at this level, the opponent flawless blocking is being used against them so much in, albeit risky plays. The confidence and understanding is there that you are now so prone to flawless block me, I'm doing a million things to punish you for doing it. And you have to be a master of the character for that stuff to work. It just won't work at any other level.
This does seem to be pretty much Mirko's round, at least the beginning of it. We did see Mirko take the first round, and now it's really MakoraN that's going to have to play catch-up on the health. Actually, not teasing out those flawless blocks anymore. It's actually Mirko being successful. There goes that escape failed crushing blow that you mentioned earlier. Now that is bleed damage, so that's going to do quite a bit even then. And the wake up 3.
Right. You needed to get yourself back into this series. That is the...
one of those moments as a competitor that you're closing in on, I would say, the end, right, of this tournament, and you have to play clean, you have to play solid, you have to really be aware. And honestly, again, we were talking about it earlier when it came to stamina. You know, some players are able to really hold on to that, like playing 6 games in a row. But once you start playing through and you get a little too comfortable, you have to stay alive and awake on it. Oh, the movement! That would have been over 30% damage. And I'd like to point out too, I think Mirko was partying a bit too hard with the teleport reactions, where MakoraN was faking out projectiles by just standalone buttons, and it kind of almost was a wake-up call that now Mirko isn't falling for the standalone buttons and is looking so much closer for projectiles. The confidence to reaction teleport is still there, but he's paying more attention to what the animation is. And I gotta say, you have a matter of frames to determine whether it's a reactable move or not. So Mirko being able to do that is kind of ridiculous, if you ask me. Absolutely. Now, that first round does go to Mirko. And there was the flawless block with the up 3 as well in response, catching MakoraN off guard. No, it was a close jump, but not going to be able to succeed. And we're going to go for the grab off of that roll. Tries to bait out the attempt on the escape field, but MakoraN playing patient.
That's 30%!
Oh! It reached!
Well, that parry was sick. The fact that those 2 buffed death spins did 30% combined was just like, that's a combo right there!
Yeah.
In like 5 seconds. And then I gotta say, yeah, that parry was a nice answer.
Sometimes maybe that's what the answer has been for MakoraN in some of those instances, right? but we do see the down one check. And once again, these single buttons, but it is not looking good for MakoraN. Very close checkmate situation. Of course, the down 4. And there it goes. Mirko now ahead.
More about this character change. I hope I'm wrong, but let's see.
Now, this does mean that if MakoraN wins, there's still at least one more match, right? So that could give enough time for Mirko to adapt, as something that we've seen a countless times, especially earlier on in the bracket. But you're definitely right. We have to see if the old Mirko comes back. Mirko has to go to his old self, essentially, for that.
Well, I guess one thing to take away from that, though, is that currently Mirko is locked into Searing Rage, so one tool that would be quite good in this matchup is that cancel teleport that Mirko currently does not have. So I guess there is that going for MakoraN, on top of the fact that clearly his Cetrion is fantastic, and it is a good choice to be made. But there's the turnaround. Damage output is one thing. No, he dropped it! He dropped it! No! That button just did not come out, did it? That is a shame right there.
It also seems that MakoraN also had dropped the Ender onto that combo. Was probably trying to go for the wins, but wasn't able to. Oh, there goes his teleport, though.
No, another drop! I'm almost wondering if that would have been fatal blow. MakoraN. The jump in, and it threw the button! That's 950, you're dead. You're dead. That is absolutely going to do it. Mirko on match point. For his sake, it was good that he managed to do it, because there were a couple of key drops there that you would have been kicking yourself afterwards. Now, MakoraN, alright. Alright. A little bit of damage, but outside of Crushing Blow, there's no way on this earth she's out-damaging Scorpion. Oh, no!
There goes the buff. And again, the overhead. MakoraN not really actually
oh, no!
To the overhead. This is bad for MakoraN. This is 44%! Oh!
And that's a 950 health character, so that's so much more tender. Can't whiff punish the back 3. Looks for it, though. Now, Mirko, whatever your adaptation was, my friend, it's looking like it might be enough, and that is the game for sure with a brutality finish. Mirko, going into the grand finals on the winner's bracket, concedes the reset to MakoraN Scarlet, but then is able to wake up, turn things up a gear, and ultimately win the entire tournament. So GG's and congratulations, Mirko, on a personal level, mate. It's good to see you play again. I have not seen you in PlayStation tournaments in some time. So absolutely wonderful stuff there from one of the best Scorpions to ever do it, and